Training is so confusing. Do I train a player in his position or do I train a player in his role? Oh man, what do I do when there are 3 games a week? Well, if you are in that spot and you aren't sure about what some of these sessions do, on today's show, I'm going to share with you some of the mistakes people make when it comes to training. I'm going to explain a few concepts, and then hopefully it clears the way for you to approach trading and have some fun with it. My name is Daljit. Welcome to the show. Football Manager 19 was launched with a new training module. Fantastic. So I got together with a couple of guys from SI and some guys from the forum, and we created an unofficially official training guide. And over the course of the last few years, yes, we do communicate back and forth, me and the developers, and we try and make sure that that guide is continually updated. Along the way, I've also noticed that sometimes people seem to get a bit confused, especially when it comes to certain aspects of training. One of these has got to do with understanding the individual training cards themselves. Now, on today's show, what I'm going to do is I'm going to explain what the common misconceptions are. I'm going to first explain what all these cards do and the things that we have to pay attention to so that we don't make some fundamental mistakes with the game, or at least clear up some fundamental misconceptions. Let's get one thing clear first up. The training module is very organic. You're gonna find it really hard to screw things up, right? Your players will still train. It's not like if you chose the wrong training session, they're gonna screw things up. No. Secondly, there are presets in the game that are created by SI that make a lot of sense. Now, once I've explained this in the video, you're gonna see that at the end of the show, and you come to that realization yourself. So if you enjoy these kind of videos, hit the like and the subscribe button, stay notified as well. Now, don't forget, I'm gonna try and do a weekly show called the Sporting Diaries, where I spend a fair bit of time on a live stream explaining how I set training up for a team called Sporting Lisbon. And this is done specifically from the angle of training. I will show you how I set the training up in pre-season, how we progress through a regular season, how I handle specific matches, how I develop my players, how I send them on load. At the end of it all, we shall try and assess how well did we do as a club in developing these players, because one of the requirements for Sporting Lisbon is to work with your youth. And if you're keen, just follow me on the show. Join me on the show if you have any questions related to training, and I will do my best to answer them. Okay, so let's get down and dirty with training. First up, when you have training, you got to think of coaches. Now, this is very important. Your coaches all have a workload, right? You will find out when you go to edit the coaches training, you'll see a workload there. The workload shifts over during the course of a season. Now, if you suddenly decide for an entire week you want to do physical training and every single slot is filled up with physical training, that physical fitness coach is going to be overworked. Now, why is this important to understand? His workload is going to affect the impact he has on specific sessions of training. Now, an easy way of understanding this is to look at the training cards. What are on these cards? The cards are very simple. Each card will tell you what area the players are working in, whether they're working as a team or whether they're working as units. Furthermore, the coach's impact is measured as well. Like in some cards, the coach's impact is 60%, which literally means 60% of your attention is focused on either developing tactical familiarity for the team, helping the players develop specific attributes, and also there are also impacts to condition, injury risk, and the player's happiness. This is important to understand because, now coming back to our first example, what if you had your whole team doing physical fitness and every single slot in the week is covered with physical fitness? That coach, his attention, which is focused squarely on delivering these kind of benefits to his players in terms of physical attributes, he's going to be overworked. When he's overworked, it can also affect the development of your players because your players don't get the attention that they want. They might turn around and complain, and frankly speaking, some of them may not really develop very well at all. So it's important to understand the workload. On top of that, each coach has got attributes. Now, Each coach has a specialization. A possession tactical or a possession technical coach will have different attributes that they're focused on delivering benefits to. So if you were to choose a coach who has got very poor attributes in developing positioning, for example, and you've set up an entire training schedule that is focused on improving positioning for your players, then you might find it a bit challenging because your coach isn't good enough to deliver those kind of results. Second area that I find people make a lot of mistakes with, and this is something that boils down to understanding what this tactical familiarity bar actually means. Now, this tactical familiarity bar doesn't tell you how, in terms of attributes, whether your players are developing or not. It's not meant to do that. It's meant to show you the general ability of your player vis-a-vis the formation that you've set up, which is the reason why nothing shows up if you don't have a formation. So and it's very specific to an individual player, right? So some players may take some time to understand the mentality of the system they're using, or the width of the system they're using, or the passing focus of your system they're using. So this just tells you how familiar your players are. And this is why each one of those cards has got a focus, right? For the coaches, like he's got 60% focus, which is going to be devoted to developing the tactical familiarity for the player. Now, this just means that it's helping the player understand the system. When we are talking about specific attribute development, then you have to look at the card again. Does the card say anywhere that there are specific attributes being developed? Now, some cards might not say this. Some cards will say individual roles. Now, where it says individual roles, this is very significant because there are 3 sessions where the primary focus is developing a player's attributes for specific roles. There are only 3: match practice, attacking shape, and defensive shape. Are you confused yet? Well, there isn't a lot of feedback in the game when we're doing something wrong. Trust me. Okay, so it can be a bit annoying. Now, let me just pull up a card. Right, when you look at this card, you will see that there's no role training, which literally means that the player in this position is just training those specific attributes you see on the card, right? On top of that, he might be training some tactical familiarity, and then, there could be an impact on his injury condition and his happiness. That's it. When you want to train a player in a certain role, then you will have to use this card. This card has got individual roles listed on it. Once again, you have to pay attention to the focus of the coach. In this particular case, 100% of his attention is focused on developing tactical familiarity and delivering attributes for specific roles that you may have chosen for a player. At this point, I'm going to show you the training page for a specific player. Okay, now on this page, when you choose to train a player, you have the option of training him in a position or in a specific role. Putting a player on position-only training generally produces a lighter workload and has a very generic focus on a large range of attributes that make up all the roles under that position. I'm literally quoting the SI developer here. Okay, so yeah, that's exactly the words he uses to explain it to me. So now there are 2 ways we can approach training. You can either be an alchemist, right? You can go and mix and match specific sessions, knowing which attributes are being focused on so that they can help develop the player's role, right? This way, he's training in the role, and you've chosen those sessions that help him along the way. Another approach is, a simpler approach would be to choose sessions, 3 sessions at least, that guarantee that your coach is going to be delivering attributes for those roles. And these sessions are attacking movement, defensive shape, and match practice. A lot of people seem to think match practice is very heavy in the intensity. Well, it's not true. Match practice is a very good session because it develops tactical familiarity for any tactic that you might want your players to play, and it also delivers growth in attributes for specific individual roles. At this point, you're probably gonna want to give up on training. I don't blame you. I mean, if this is the first time I'm playing the game, well, I'd give up too. But the thing is, here, SI, when they created the module, and I know the guys who worked on the module because we worked closely together and during various phases of the game. Those presets, they actually work. You can use those presets that come with the game and, go with those presets. All you got to do is add in match preparation activities. Now, why are match preparation activities so good in the game? Because they give you a bonus for your matches, and this is especially important at the start of a season where you want every single advantage. So all you got to do is add Three things: attacking movement, defensive shape, match practice. How difficult can that be? What about leaving it completely to the ass man? Nothing wrong there either. The ass man, well, you won't exactly guarantee that it's going to be perfect, but if you want it to be perfect, then you got to wear an alchemist hat, right? So, and if you don't want to wear an alchemist hat, then you want to take the easy approach. There's nothing wrong with the easy approach. You've got a tactic. You know what needs to be done. Go and choose specific roles for your players to develop in. Then depend on the assistant manager to create the training schedules, and all you have to do is add three things: attacking movement, defensive shape, and match practice. Most of the time, the S-Man already includes match practice because somewhere deep down inside the logic of the game, it understands that match practice is a good session. Match practice is not bad, right? People make it out to be something that's terrible, when in reality, it's so good that SI have capped it to only 2 users per week. Since we're talking about match preparation, I'll just deal with the next point, which is quite straightforward. Do match preparation activities stack? They don't. So what does this mean? If you take can you apply 2 attacking movement sessions a week for a match that's coming up? Well, the game only recognizes 1, so they don't stack. Now, if you have a match preparation activity on a Monday and you have a match on Wednesday and the weekend, the match preparation activity on the Monday will only roll over into the game on the Wednesday. It will not roll over into the weekend's match. So you probably will have to do 2 attacking movements that week if you want to take advantage of that. And probably a very common question I get from a lot of people is, how should I set up my training when I have more than 2 games in a week, or maybe even 3 games in a week? Then all you want to do during that period of time, you want to avoid physical activity, right? Match practice is enough: attacking movement and defensive shape. I normally, whenever there are lots of games and there's a fixture congestion, I generally just stick on match preparation, because match preparation activities also develop attributes. I mean, set piece training for one develops only 3 attributes. Isn't that cool? So it's so focused. And finally, I usually get this question asked a lot: what if I have 3 games a week? How do I set up my training for that week? Leave it to your ass, man. Not a bad move. The second option is, if you feel a bit more comfortable, then just put in match preparation activities and set piece training. That's all you need to do. Now, why set piece training? Because don't forget, set piece training also works on attributes. They usually work on 3 attributes or 4. Like, for example, attacking free kicks and attacking corners, they work on exactly the same attacking attributes for your whole team. It's the whole team. The whole team gets to work on off the ball. How cool is that? It's so focused. Same thing goes with defending corners. The whole team works on positioning. Think about it. Training isn't that hard. Well, these are some of the common misconceptions or mistakes people make with training, and I hope that today's video helped clear these up for you. The next time you want to set up your training, don't worry. If you feel like leaving it to your ass man, let him go, run with the flow. All you got to do is make sure that you've decided the kind of roles you want your players to develop in. How do I normally play the game? I have a very simple way of playing the game. I don't like generic development. I never have. I like to know exactly which attributes my players are developing in, especially when I'm playing lower league football. When I'm playing lower league football, I value acceleration very highly. I value off the ball and positioning very highly. So when I go to set up my training schedules, I'm also very focused on the kind of roles I want my players to play in. I don't choose too complicated roles. I choose simple roles that are effective enough for us to survive lower league football. And then when I go to my training for my team, I am also focused on just simple sessions like attacking movement, defensive shape, maybe match practice, and physical sessions, which are, priceless for lower league football. You know how acceleration is so good down south in the lower leagues. Hey man, this is a phenomenal way of beating the top sides. All you gotta do is outrun them. You don't have to outthink them, because outthinking them is not an option. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video that I've done for you today. If you have any questions, feel free to ask me anytime you want. You can always reach me on Twitter at Bustthenet or addicted2fm.com, our website. Once again, I want to thank everybody for their continued support of this channel. If you like the video, don't forget to hit the like, the subscribe button, and stay in touch with notifications. I do live streams on YouTube very regularly now. And if you want to pop in for my Spotting Diaries live stream, I'm more than happy to help you out with your training. Or if you have a training schedule that you want some insight on, feel free to join me there. Then, one other thing, there is a way to create one training session to rule them all. Yes, one training session for an entire week. I've already done it on my Spotting Diaries live stream. You might want to check that out. You guys take care. Have a good one. I'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.